This is LSAT PrepTest 142, Section 3, Passage 4. This is a book review of Mario Garcia's study of the Mexican-American generation, political activists from 1930 to 1960. Medium difficulty passage. It's structured around two criticisms, and they test differently. If you blur them together, you're going to get tripped up. Now, this is a humanities passage. The reviewer is picking apart Garcia's book, not trashing it, but poking two specific holes in the argument. Now, paragraph 1 does two things. First, it lays out Garcia's claim. These activists were more radical and more politically diverse than earlier historians realized, and they anticipated the Chicano reforms of the 60s and 70s. And the reviewer actually gives Garcia some credit here. That phrase, persuasive evidence, is real praise. Don't skip past it. But then the paragraph ends with a sharp turn. They say, his study suffers from two flaws. So that sentence is your table of contents for the rest of the passage. Everything after it is organized around flaw 1 and flaw 2. You want to read paragraph 1 at a normal speed, but that final sentence is the most important one to lock in on. Now, paragraph 2 covers flaw number 1, and it's the meatier of the two. Garcia claims this generation was politically diverse, but the reviewer catches him in a contradiction. Garcia keeps emphasizing an underlying consensus among these groups, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say they were diverse, then argue they mostly agreed. And the reviewer backs this up with specifics. On one side, you've got the League of United Latin American Citizens pushing assimilation into the mainstream. On the other side, the Congress of Spanish-speaking people fighting for bilingual education and immigrant rights. And those are not minor differences, they are opposite strategies. And the reviewer says Garcia sees these differences but calls them insignificant. So that shows Garcia is actively dismissing his own evidence. And then the reviewer goes further. The debates over immigration policy and assimilation versus cultural preservation were not polite disagreements. The reviewer uses the phrase fierce controversies. And that is strong language for an academic review. The whole point is that Mexican-American political history since 1930 has been defined by conflict, not consensus. You don't need to memorize the organization names here. They are just examples. The point is to prove that diversity was real, and Garcia's own book shows it even while he downplays it. Then paragraph 3 is flaw number 2. That one works differently. Here, the reviewer questions whether these activists actually represented the broader Mexican-American population. And Garcia's logic goes like this. By 1930, more Mexican Americans were born in the US, more assimilated, more politically active. They experienced discrimination and were influenced by World War II rhetoric, so they pushed for civil rights. And that chain of reasoning might sound solid, but that is exactly the trap. The review doesn't say it's wrong, they say it's not proven. So there is a gap between saying these leaders were active and they represented everybody. There were too many other variables like patterns of bilingualism, immigration rates, naturalization numbers, variations in ethnic identity. So the reviewer is saying Garcia jumped from a demographic trend to a political conclusion without adequate support for that. Now you want to slow down here because the difference between saying this is wrong versus this is not proven is exactly what the test is going to ask about. So their tone here in paragraph 3 is skeptical, it's not dismissive. Now here is the key move. In both criticisms, the reviewer turns Garcia's own evidence against him. That is the pattern running through the whole passage. The reviewer is not bringing in any outside research. They are not citing other scholars. Every hit lands using Garcia's own data. Flaw number 1, Garcia's examples prove diversity, which undercuts his consensus claim. Flaw number 2, Garcia's demographics don't actually support the conclusion he draws from them. It is a very specific style of critique. It's saying, basically, your own book disagrees with you. Now, the reviewer respects Garcia's project. That part is easy to miss. The early praise in this passage is genuine. The main trap is reading this as a demolition. It's not. The review is saying the book has real strengths, but the argument does not hold together in two places. If you overcorrect and read the reviewer as being hostile, you're going to pick answers that are too negative on any attitude question. Before you go on to the questions, check yourself on 3 things. First, can you state both flaws in your own words without blending them together? Second, why does the reviewer list specific organizations in paragraph 2? Not what they did, but why do they mention them? And then third, in paragraph 3, is the reviewer saying Garcia's data is bad or that his conclusion goes too far? Those are very different answers, and you could bet the questions are going to offer you both in the choices.